Hi, this is Elliot Fishman, trying to comb my hair here. Welcome back from RSNA 2019. It's now history. It's 12 o'clock noon. The last lecture was given 30 seconds ago. Well, maybe no, it's actually another hour because it's 12 o'clock Chicago time for the last series of lectures. Some of you know that this is the last, or next to the last year, where RSNA will have a Friday. Next year is the last year, and then it's going to end on Thursday. And the commercial exhibits will end on Wednesday. Having spoken yesterday on Thursday, I think that's a wonderful idea. Yesterday seemed to be really desolate. I think most people left on Wednesday. RSNA was quiet on Sunday. Monday was pretty busy. Tuesday was busy. Wednesday was getting quieter already. I think the general effect of people having to be away less and people working more definitely is affecting all meetings, and the RSNA is no exception. So I spoke about a week ago, literally what I would like to see at RSNA, and I can't remember what that was exactly, but let me tell you what I did see at RSNA. So first of all, as I said, the first thing I saw was I didn't see that many people. I don't know, I saw some people I knew, but a lot of people I didn't see. Now, of course, it's random. You're walking through the hallway, you're going to some meetings, so some people you see like 10 times. Some people you see 0. So it is randomness, but I thought a lot of people I knew did not go to RSNA this year. The RSNA in general was, as always, successful. It's still the highlight of the radiology year. We had 10 exhibits. We won 4 awards. All I could say is I should say we're grateful for the one cum laude, which was actually CTisus. The AI page won cum laude, and we won 3 certificates of merit. But the truth is our best thing, which was the new app, which uses cinematic rendering for cardiac and thoracic anatomy, won nothing. We was robbed. I'm simply telling you, we was robbed. And the things that got certificate of merit should have got magna cum laudes. The things that gave magna cum laudes should have got diddly squat. Who gives out those awards? I know it's a secret committee, but I'm going to tell you a secret. Those people don't know squat. Maybe it's just sour grapes, but it's hard to choose exhibits, and I think that's probably the fairest thing. I think people do their best, and it's really hard to do. But we'll be back working hard because the deadline for RSNA abstracts is probably April 15th, plus or minus, usually minus about 3 or 4 days, and so we'll be working hard after Christmas and during Christmas and working on what's coming for next year. So that'll be kind of fun. Now, this year they had a big section on AI, which they had the last couple of years. This year they tried to do something where they put it together. The problem was they had it separate from the main commercial exhibits. And I know many of the commercial exhibit people, like NVIDIA is a good example, were not happy because the people who made it to the booth were people who were doing AI, and rightly so. Companies like NVIDIA want people who aren't doing AI to see what they're doing. And unless you really wanted to see the AI, you didn't, because what happened was they had this new thing on the second floor. You know, the second floor, which is underneath the North building. Sometimes I've gone there. They have McDonald's there and a pizza place. I don't eat there. Forget that. But the lecture halls, and I've given lectures there many times. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's a big blank, and then it goes downstairs, and it was where they had the meeting. And they had all the AI companies together. So conceptually, that's good. But I think if you're an AI company, you don't want it to be relegated or delegated to a separate area. It's good to keep it together, but you want it to be within the area where people will just run into things. And so I think that was probably very good intent. Execution was poor. The other thing is they had poor signage. So if you knew where it was, you saw the sign. If you didn't know where it was, you didn't see the sign. And so people did not accidentally find it. And by the time you found it, it was too late. But I did go downstairs. There was a lot of companies, well over 100 companies. Most of them will go nowhere and are doing nothing. You saw some of the companies that are at the forefront, AI Doc and Zebra. You saw them there. You saw the NVIDIAs, which were the billion-dollar company there. You saw Google. You saw Amazon. So you saw some of the big companies, and a lot of companies, names I can't even mention because I can't even remember, and they're not worthwhile remembering because most of them will be gone like a comet. Goodbye, good luck. But there was a lot of interest. And again, I think there's a challenge. The data set issue is still the biggest challenge. People now are showing things on very small data sets. And so, everyone, of course, has only very positive results. So I think AI, there's no doubt, AI is. The sign AI was in every booth: Siemens, GE, Philips, Toshiba, Canon, United. Everybody was doing AI. The scanners had AI. The desktops had AI. Everything had AI. So in that sense, AI was well represented even from the big companies. One of the things you saw were companies like Siemens. I thought they were very impressive, showing their new scanner, which is this big bore magnet, big 82 or 84-inch hole. But I thought the most impressive thing was how they're making the scanners where it's run off the equivalent of an iPad, where you're able to just type a few bits of information in, and the scanner is deciding how to do the study. I think companies like Siemens have realized that no matter how many good tools they develop, the tools are worthless unless people actually use them. And it just seems these days, between the world of teleradiology and the world of radiologists reading for RVUs, people aren't that familiar with technical specifications. They're not as familiar with optimizing the studies as they could be. And the companies like Siemens have basically saying, this is not going to change, it'll probably get worse. So we need to be the ones who are leading the change, and they're going to make it easy. So you'll type in a rule out GI bleed, and the protocols will come up automatically. The dose reduction will come up automatically. It'll ask you whether you need metal reduction, things like that. A whole bunch of things are going to come up where you don't have to know all that much. And I think one thing they are doing is dumbing down the role of the technologist. I think we're getting challenged by the fact that so many outpatient centers and places where there's a lack of supervision by physicians. Many places the ER docs are supervising, and we know what that leads to. So you want to make certain that we give the best care for our patients, do the best protocols and best studies. And I think this new workflow is really something that needs to happen. I think there's no doubt that's the way things are going. So I think that's just the reality of it all. I looked around at other modalities, a little bit different than MR, not a whole lot of new stuff. I saw some ultrasound stuff, believe it or not. Sabina Duffy, an old friend of mine, is now in charge of Siemens Ultrasound, so I visited her and I got to look at some ultrasound stuff with Sheila Sheff, but I don't know that much about ultrasound anymore, but they look pretty cool. Gizmos look pretty sharp, and particularly with liver disease, a lot of new work being done with ultrasound and contrast ultrasound. So that became very positive. I was over by GE, the contrast area, and spoke to some of my friends. I did not look carefully, but they have a new injector which does a single pack. There's no tubing. So again, what GE is trying to do is figure out a way of having an injector which minimizes waste, minimizes both on contrast and on disposables, and makes things a little bit more efficient and smoother. Again, that's a multi-pack type approach, which is always a challenge with JCO, but they're working on some new ways of doing it, so we'll have to pay attention to that. I guess you need to really, one of the things with MedRad, which has been very successful, and we use MedRad, and we like MedRad, is there's a lot of waste from plastics and everything else, and it's fairly expensive, all those disposables. So the question is, how can you do cheaper disposables? Or maybe if you have less to dispose of, it's going to be cheaper and less medical waste, and you go on and on. So that becomes something. What else? Oh, I did, people asked me to take selfies. It was a real honor for people from CTisus. People from Ukraine, I told the guy I was a little bit afraid. I thought I'd end up perhaps with some of our friends from the UK, but I'm from Ukraine, but that was okay. And I met some people from England and many, many countries. I do think that the number of, I hate to use the word foreigners, non-US attendees at the RSNA probably was down. I think it's a combination of the difficulty in getting visas for many countries, to also the cost in the US now, depending on where you are, that's a problem. And also the fact is the ECR has really continued to grow, and is growing, and ECR is a tremendous meeting, the European College of Radiology, and so I think a lot of people are choosing to go to the ECR rather than to RSNA, and that's somewhat of a challenge for RSNA. Particularly RSNA is not really interested, I would say, in just being North America, because we gave that up years ago, being only North America. We wanted to be North America, South America, we wanted to be Asia, we wanted to be Africa, we wanted to be Europe, we wanted to be England. So you want to be able to grow your membership across many different countries, but as people have less funds, they make choices, and so it is a little bit challenging for RSNA going forward. I think RSNA is an incredible organization, very well run, great people, and I had an honor to participate with committees from the RSNA. So that part, it's not a matter of them not doing a great job. It's just that I think things are getting more challenging as people tend not to go to meetings and tend not to call in, and people tend to kind of just be doing repetitive tasks like reading the studies in the way they always have. It is somewhat problematic going forward. So we're going to have to pay attention to that trend. Remember, RSNA said that starting 2021, 2 years from now, the commercial exhibits will end on Wednesday, and the regular meeting will end on Thursday night. So there's not going to be a Friday anymore. So no one's going to be giving those dreaded Friday talks. Of course, people will soon complain when they realize that if RSNA gets rid of Friday, they get rid of about 10%, a little bit less than 10% of all the talks. And that's being problematic because there's 10% less talks, so 10% of people will not be giving a talk at RSNA. So that becomes very important to remember. Now, I do have any questions. I don't see any questions here. This Jerry Beziak, I pronounced wrong, from the Czech Republic. Hello to you. What else did I see? I saw a lot of PAC stuff. I saw companies like Nuance about to come out with their new technology for dictation. Nuance would also like to be an Apple Store type appearance where people put their software for AI on their platform and they run it through there. It's an interesting concept. Will it happen? I'm not positive, but you are seeing people trying to figure out how they could be not so much a developer of AI, but the person who gathers all of the things together in sort of a store type configuration. You see that a bit with Terra Recon. Though I hear Terra Recon's for sale, you see that a bit with other companies, including companies like Siemens, which are looking and have a store already. I think it's very challenging. The Apple Store provided certain uniqueness. Unless these other stores provide uniqueness both for developers and for customers, and do it in a way that's kind of a time savings or cost savings or something, I think it's going to be very, very hard for it to work. So we'll see about that. What else did I see? I stayed at the Marriott, so I walked a lot. The Marriott changed their plan. Who can get into the Marriott Club? Used to be anyone with a platinum card. Well, no more. Platinum cards don't count. You need to be Marriott, not platinum, I think it is. So finally made that, and we got into the lounge. If not, you were riffraff, and they casted you away like a bunch of grapes or stones, or however the quote goes. So that part was good. And like I said, I saw a lot of people. RSNA is a lot of seeing people, seeing friends, seeing acquaintances, seeing people you haven't seen in a long time, and people you're probably not going to see for another long time. So it's not always, but it's kind of nice. You see people, you go to reunions, we have a Hopkins reunion thing, and you saw a few people. Attendance was down this year. Not really clear why. I think people didn't get their invitations. But, I think just it was one of those years at RSNA. Some years there's massive new technology. Some years there's improvements. So AI was big, and it shows AI is moving along at a reasonable pace. It wasn't like people said we cured disease or we discovered disease. But the big players were there and the small players were there. I think that's indeed very exciting. And I predict that next year, RSNA 2020, you're going to have the computer people there. It's going to be bigger. They'll be upstairs. You're going to see lots of growth in those technologies. You're going to see the evolution from literally the bedside, perhaps, to the desktop, in the sense that I think that we will be seeing not all that many apps moving along, but there are many, whether it's for PE or dissection, whether it's for coronary artery scoring or calcification. There are a lot of things coming along or have come along, and I think a lot of groups are beginning to implement them. So I think you are seeing the early integration of the preliminary bits of stuff on AI, and I think that's only going to accelerate. I think people are wanting to get their feet wet. I think there is concern, like always, of going with the wrong vendor and then have the vendor go out of business. But I think that's not going to be quite the problem for some of the bigger players. So I think it's very exciting. I think I did have a good time. Again, RSNA does a great job. It's a great host. And the science of the meeting was really good. So with that, anyone I saw there, hey, great seeing you. Anyone I didn't see, sorry I missed you. Anyone who didn't go, hopefully we'll see you in one of the Hopkins courses coming in February or coming in May to Orlando or to Nashville. And we're always available here online at CTisus.com. So we'll thank you for your attention. We'll see you next week. And for RSNA, it's been a pleasure. Down home Chicago. We'll see you next year. Same place, same time, God willing. Have a great day and a great weekend and a great month. And this month is like the next to last month of the year. Well, maybe it is the last month, December, but it's not January. January is the month that counts. Anyway, catch you later. Bye.